Lyn Bergdoll, who's the executive director of the Belmont Theatre, formerly known as York Little Theatre, but that formerly is fading off further and further, just simply known now as the Belmont. And good morning, Lyn. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Well, it's always a pleasure to hear your voice, but always a pleasure to hear your voice talking about the Belmont. And we talk about what COVID has done to our theatrical landscape over the past year, and it has been rough, but you've managed to overcome that to some degree, and yet in-person performances are still what people yearn for here in York, and the Belmont is one of the best places for that. Tell us about what's coming up at the Belmont, what's going on right now, and what are the plans moving forward? I'm kind of excited.
Well, we're excited also. We've done some really tremendous virtual events on our new website during the time when we've had to be closed. We are looking forward to the summer when we are doing some summer camps with the Belmont Academy. And then we are planning to open our 89th season in September.
Wow.
With the Miracle Worker. So that is something that we are super excited about. And,
of course, the Miracle Worker, the story of Helen Keller and Annie Sullivan, and just a fascinating story. I've been looking at your website here. I hope I'm thebelmont.org. And I've been looking from the York to New York series that you had, and one of them reminded me of my high school days. I played trombone in a district band with a guy named Ken Ludwig, who graduated from York Suburban, who's a great playwright and is still – he's 1 year and 4 days older than me, by the way, I noticed. But he's and I went to his dad. His dad, I think, was a dermatologist during that time, who was a doctor, and so I was reminded of some really neat things by going back over your series here from York to New York, and that was just one example on your website there that people can check out right now.
That is right. There are no tickets required. There's no fee to watch this program. We have Act 1 introduced by Ken Ludwig, who is considered one of the greatest playwrights ever, and we also have added Act 2. But it is a combination of people who are professionals who grew up in York and grew up at what was then York Little Theatre.
Right.
And Ken gives a tremendous welcome and opening to the event, and I'm so excited that you saw it. And so he is just one of a number of professionals who would originally have been at York Little Theatre.
There is something about in-person events, local acting, people getting involved, that is just mesmerizing. And I love coming to the Belmont Theatre. I just think that is one of the true treasures that we have in our community. It's part of the fabric of our community. Lyn, you've done a great job on really giving it, I think, new life, along with a lot of the people that you work with there. But, you know, I look at it and I think I can't wait till it gets back up and running again here in September. And for people who have missed it over the past year and haven't had a chance to go, I know you stopped right in the middle, I think, of one of your productions. They can't wait to get back to it. But what can people do to help? Because I think, you know, it is something that we want to keep going in our community. The arts are a big part of our community. People do support them here. What can they do to help the Belmont Theatre, and what are some of the things that you're looking forward to in terms of some of the upcoming shows as well?
Well, we rely very heavily on volunteers, and the theater always has. And so anyone who wants to volunteer anytime as far as helping with things like sets and costumes once we're open, we always need technical people for sound and lighting. And any interest that people have in the arts, if they contact us, I'm sure we can find a place where their talents can really be put to good use and be much appreciated.
Right.
Of course, people can always make a contribution because we have been closed for over a year. It will be a year and a half until we open. So contributions are always welcome. And people are very gracious when they watch our virtual events. We've done 4 or 5 now. And when people do make a contribution after enjoying these events, that's very much appreciated also.
What does it mean for the people of York? You get a chance to hear from people all the time who support this, who come to it, who act, who are part of it in some way, shape, or form. What has it meant this past year, the silence? You know, lights have been off and the sound has been down, and yet you've done some of these virtual events, but they're not the same as the live, in-person, because I know you're a person that spends a lot of time talking with people out in the lobby and getting ready and knowing what's going on, and there's an excitement that builds around it. What's it like when it all goes dark for a year?
Well, people are very much missing it. I do hear that from so many people. And looping back to our virtual From York to New York, what is so interesting about hearing the professionals give these commentaries is their memory. There are many memories of being at York Little Theater. I was amazed at how sincere and how heartfelt their commentaries are about what they learned at the theater and how it shaped their lives and caused them to want to make the arts their livelihood. When you hear people like not only Ken Ludwig, but David Masonheimer, who was a graduate of York Suburban, became a professional actor and did over 2,000 performances of Inspector Javert in Les Miserables. On Broadway,
right.
In Europe, on tour, was in more than 15 Broadway shows. When you hear him talk about York Little Theater, when you hear people like Sam Freed, who did many, many Broadway shows and TV shows, Kate and Alley, the series for years, when you hear Neil Dodson, who became a directed Robert Redford and many, many films, when you actually see all the credentials and accomplishments of these people, they are really, really impressive. And they all talk about starting at York Little Theater. Some
Wow.
of them even have programs and posters and photos they held up. And I thought, wow, they have those after all these years. And they knew where they were and could get them out. I'm just really impressed because their careers have been just tremendous. And they credit it back to growing up in York and going to York Little Theater for many years. So that is so rewarding and exciting to hear that.
They remember from whence they came. Lyn, very quickly, we're just about out of time, but I wanted to, where can people call or where can they write if they wanted to donate or they want to try to get involved or give of their time or their talents? Where can they contact you?
Well, they can always contribute and contact us on the website, thebelmont.org, or they can call 717-854-3894.
The lights come back on in September. In the meantime, check out thebelmont.org for all kinds of neat updates and opportunities to help out in any way you can. Lyn, thank you for keeping a wonderful part of York alive, the Belmont Theater, and let's talk again very soon. Always appreciate hearing your voice.
Same here, and thank you so much.